well, thank you to Jim for that lovely introduction. And as he said, we're going to be discussing Twitter today. But first, we'd like to introduce ourselves again. We're all from the Social Media Marketing Department at Single Throw. I'm Rachel Whitty.
I'm Jennifer Powers.
Becky Rowe.
And I'm Jennifer Patterson.
Okay, so to start off, first actually I'd like to get an idea of how many people here are actually actively using Twitter. Okay, a few hands, some, I don't know. Well, for those of you that are, this may be a bit of a review, but for everyone else, maybe you'll learn something new. So to start off, what is Twitter? Well, by technical definition, Twitter is a microblogging social network. And what does that mean? Well, I'm sure a lot of you are using Facebook. Yes, I saw more hands when Jim asked about Facebook. And so you're familiar with the status updates on Facebook. Well, essentially, that's what Twitter is. It's just a bunch of different status updates, but it's limited to 140 characters, which means you have to be very careful with your words and very wise with the words that you use. So basically what you do is you would log into Facebook, you'd create an account, you'd give yourself a username, and then you can start customizing your profile. You get a 160-character profile, so there's another instance where you really want to be wise with your words. But you can, like Facebook, use a default picture. But the really great thing about Twitter is that, unlike Facebook, on Twitter you can customize your own background. So you can include your business logo, pictures of people in your business, information about your business, like contact information, your website information. So this is a really cool tool to use on Twitter. So Jen's going to take over and start talking about contributing, how to contribute to people on Twitter.
Okay, contributing is absolutely key in everything. I don't know how most of you are more familiar with Facebook. So when you log on to Facebook, the first screen that you would see would be your home feed. I don't know if any of you have seen when you log on to your Facebook accounts, or if you have Twitter, if you log on your Twitter accounts, sometimes you'll see the same name repeated a bunch of different times. Nobody likes that. That's like Facebook and Twitter spamming. So one of the most important things to remember is spamming. Don't want to do it. Most people think that if you constantly update your status, the more frequently you do it, if you do it every couple minutes, you're just bothering the people that your friends and followers are, because you're just going to be showing up nonstop. So what we like to, a ratio that we came out with actually that's been very successful for our clients has been to share 90% information and only sell 10%. And I would go even as far as to say share 95% and only selling 5%. The idea of Twitter really is to just gain the respect and admiration of people that are interested in your goods or services. They want to look at what you're announcing and any relevant information you can have just about the genre, any local events, any events within your company, anything you can share first is going to gain respect from people. And then pretty soon, before you know it, before you even have to sell your product, people are going to be coming to you saying, I'm interested. And in that way, it's much better to do that way. If you start spamming, that's when it's likely that people will defriend or defollow you, and that's exactly what you don't want to happen. And a lot of the common mistakes we see are people overselling or putting their campaigns out there, and that usually doesn't really work. The more you're like overselling, the more people get turned off and don't really want to. They're not very interested in anymore what you have to say. And if you ever see the RT on your Twitter feed or anything, that just stands for retweet. So that's a really good way to communicate with other friends and followers. Retweeting just basically is a way that you are acknowledging someone that you find their information to be very relevant or very important, and you want to acknowledge that that's the source of where you got that information. It's another way of sharing what somebody else was sharing. And with that, there's a ton of different resources with how you can gain friends and followers, and that will probably turn over to Becky. I don't want to go into what she's going to go into.
I guess the main point is you don't want to be tweeting to random people. You want to target your audience, your demographic. So the people who you do want to follow on Twitter, you want to follow industry leaders, you want to follow people in the same industry, other professionals, because they're going to be people giving you great examples of the type of information you want to tweet, the type of information you want to give to your readers, your followers. And those industry professionals, they're the people who will be great for retweeting like good information that you also want to share with your followers. And last is you want to target your demographic, people who are in your region for your business's reach. And one of the best ways to do that, because Twitter's search engine in their system is not as advanced as we would like it to be, so there's a resource that we use. It's called Twello, twello.com. It's pretty much a Twitter Yellow Pages. And it's a really great resource because you can search people by their industry, by their interests, by their location. It's almost like stalking people over Twitter through Twello. So, let's see. Oh, you can also register your account, your Twitter account, so that people can search for you in your area, your interests, your activities, your industry. And there are actually a lot of different things that Twillo does. You can search by town. You can do, there's so many different resources within Twillo. So it's definitely a site that you should check out. And Jen will be talking about the different techniques to use with Twitter.
I'm going to be talking about tools and techniques, and one of the easiest techniques you can do on Twitter, it's called a hashtag, and basically it's putting a pound sign right in front of a word, and it basically categorizes your tweets, and it helps you show up higher in search on Twitter. Due to Twitter not being so advanced in their search engine, it's good to try to categorize your tweets. Like, for example, Tuesday was National Pancake Day, and everyone who decided to say, oh, I'm at IHOP at National Pancake Day, showed up and they put a little hashtag, which is like a pound sign in front of National Pancake Day. So like that would be an example. If you're talking about beauty supplies for your salon, you would say like, oh, buying these new Redken beauty supplies, and you would put a little pound sign in front of beauty supplies. And that helps categorize your tweets on Twitter and helps you show up higher in visibility when people are searching. A good way to use a hashtag is to use a trending topic, which basically when you open up the homepage on Twitter, it's on the right-hand side on the very bottom, and that's basically the main topics that people are talking about throughout that day. Like, for example, today there was like Justin Bieber. A lot of people were talking about, he's like an upcoming singer, so a lot of people were talking about that. So you could see if any of the trending topics might relate to one of your hashtags that you decide to put. That's actually a really good idea to show up higher in search and to gain more followers and people looking at your profile. Also, due to Twitter only being 140 characters or less, really links can be 140 characters. So we use link shorteners. We recommend using bit.ly or ally. And basically, it's just, you just take your link, copy and paste it, and put it in the link shortener, and it shortens the link by like 3/4 of the way than it really was. So you can initially type a longer message and have a shorter link. So we recommend that you use a link shortener. Also, we use a program because in order to show up on Twitter, you really have to tweet a few times a day. And who has time to do that every single day? Like, everyone works 40-hour weeks or more. So we use a program called Hootsuite. And what you can do, you can really schedule your tweets a week in advance. And you can manage multiple Twitter accounts on this website. And they actually have a great statistics program where you can actually see how many people clicked on what you were tweeting. Like if you, for example, were tweeting an article or something like that, it actually tells you how many people clicked on that particular article. It also tells you like what country they're from and what your most popular tweets were, for example. Like your most popular tweets for the month or for the 2 months. You can put in a specific date range. It's a really advanced program, and Hootsuite actually has the Ally link right in the program, so you don't have to open up more than one window. It's all right there, and it's really easy to use. And that's pretty much our presentation about Twitter. And Jim's going to now teach you about YouTube, how you can use it for your business, which it's very vital as well. And you can use both of them. So.